Hello everyone, my name is Dellair Youssef and this is Re.Vision Soziokultur podcast. Please, can you introduce yourself?
I'm William Keir. I am currently working for the aufweiterflur Verein. I joined it in May last year as the community manager, as the first person that was hired by the Verein to build the community around our project here in the Lehngericht in Augustersburg. And yeah, it's my job to involve the local and not so local people in the project and to try and get them and the Verein working together to fill this huge empty house that we have here with culture and interesting things.
Now I want you to tell me a bit about your project, aufweiterflur. How did it start? When did it start? How many people working there? What do you do?
Okay. So the project or the organization was founded a few years ago, and we have had in the time until now basically ongoing artist residents here in Augustersburg. There are 4 shifts of artists in residence here throughout the year, normally in 3 to 6 month periods, and they have basically they've had tabula rasa with the entire building to create whatever artworks they want to. And there has been a mixture of them between writers, digital artists, sculptures and things, I believe we've also had. And the Verein itself, the main goals of the Verein, or the things the Verein is really interested in, is the engagement of digitalization within I don't really know how to translate it back into English, but they say the ländlichen Raum, so the like the countryside and the world outside of the big city, and the challenges and opportunities that gives us as a more technology and digitally focused organization to explore and experiment with. Particularly interesting here in Augustersburg and here in the Erzgebirge and Augustersburg in particular is that the average age of the people here is much higher than almost anywhere else in the whole world, actually. Certainly within Germany, we have one of the oldest average ages of any region, and so this provides us also with a number of interesting challenges and opportunities.
That's interesting. How many people are working there at the moment?
So there's the Vereinsvorstände, and there's 4 or 5 of those. I'm not completely sure. And then we have myself and Nadine, who are employed by the Verein. And then we have our collection of, also our community, really, our collection of people that are motivated and interested in supporting the ongoing projects that we have here. And they are, I would say, somewhere around 20. But we only really started this large community engagement process in the last, I would say, since September. And so we've grown relatively fast, and there are always coming more people through the door.
Okay, and you are planning to make a contribution into the 2025 European City of Culture program, which is Chemnitz.
We have been voted one of the 6 regional maker hubs, which will be founded and take place in conjunction with the Chemnitz 2025 Capital of Culture.
And what are you planning to do?
So here in the Erzgebirge, there is this tradition, especially around Christmas, of something they call Hutzenstube, and this is basically it came about through saving energy, in as much as like lots of people would collect together in a small workshop, and then they would spend many hours carving small things out of wood and make sort of like folk art, you know. And part of the idea with the makerspace which is coming is that we want to create the digital variation of this, in as much as we would like to combine this old tradition of coming together and spending time together and working together on small projects with the new technology, which a lot of people here especially don't really know exists, or it's kind of out of their realm of what they are familiar with and what they feel comfortable using. So it's our hope that we will combine these two things and get the old people to teach the young people and the young people to teach the old people.
I try to understand how could different kind of activism work together in one place. So on your website, you say you work with culture, art, education, digitalization, and now you're talking about the same thing. And how that's possible? How is like the dynamics?
So the building here is particularly important to Augustusberg. When it was first built in the 1400s, it was the old Lehrgericht, which is a sort of a legal building, kind of like a courthouse. And then throughout the years, because it's placed directly on the Marktplatz of the Innenstadt, so the marketplace of the city, and it's only a few hundred meters downhill from the Schloss, which is the main tourist attraction in Augustusberg. But because this building was, in the past, this building used to combine a lot of things which are otherwise missing within this city. So there used to be, for example, a restaurant in here, a bar in here. There is a very large, very beautiful hall inside where dances were had, and this building has a lot of emotional worth to the people in this city. It's almost impossible to go more than 2 weeks without somebody coming by and asking to look inside, because they have fond memories of having their teenage dances here, or that they drank their first beer on a table in this corner of what used to be the restaurant. And it stood empty for a very long time. And then it came into our possession, and it is our ambition to... It needs a lot of renovation work, which we are also currently occupying ourselves with. But piece by piece, we are setting bits of it back in working order so that people can begin to experience it once again. But we are obviously combining that with our goals as a digitally and technology-oriented organization. Hence the Maker Hub, which is coming in the back. So it is quite expansive, the building. And we have not only the old building, which is what we have a lot of respect for, and is steht unter Denkmalschutz, both inside and outside. So we have to take a lot of care with it. And I believe this is right because, as I say, this has tremendous emotional worth to the people here in the city. But also at the same time, we wish to incorporate new things into this space where people would spend a lot of their time and have spent a lot of their time in the past.
Okay, and in your opinion, how important is for you to work, and also for other artists that work with you, to work out of big city in a countryside communities? Does it make a big impact?
Augustusberg is special. There's a whole world in this tiny little city. I can't really explain it. It has its own bubble. Since I moved here, like the amount of like international news, I mean, coming from England, like the last prime minister of the UK completely passed me by. I didn't even notice she was elected, much less dismissed, because there's so much here going on. It's. I mean, people think, yes, okay, it's a tiny little mountain town, and there's the Schloss and there's nothing else happening, but there are very few places for things to happen, but that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot happening within the community outside the building, because of the way the city is set out. A lot of people, like, there's basically only the one big street and it ends at the Schloss, and everybody lives on this and everybody sees everybody on a daily basis. People lean out of their windows and shout at each other when they need to have a conversation when they walk by. It's a completely different feeling to living in a city. And this has been, like, some of the artists that we've had here over the time, like, they've made really, really good and lasting connections with the people in this city. We had last weekend our artist reunion festival, and there came all of the artists that have previously done projects with us here, and they all came back together at the same time. And I would say maybe 20 or 30 people from the city came by to just check in with them based on the experiences and the friendships that they made here during the time that they were here.
What does your work mean to the local community, and which is like, you're like close to Chemnitz, and like you always hear the news how the right wing like movement is strong in that area, but you're saying it's pretty international, pretty open. Can you a little bit like explain this conflict, if there is any conflict?
I can't honestly say that I have had any problems as an immigrant to Germany in this city. There is a deep and interesting history of Augustusburg in wartime and during the National Socialist time. This actually, one of the artists that we've had here has been working on digging this up and writing it down and producing a history of this for the town. But from my personal experience here, I have had no issues with any sort of right wing something. Maybe if there are people like this, they simply don't come here. I don't know, but I haven't met anybody that eventually we haven't got on with each other.
I'm asking this question because you always have it in news, like this area in Saxony, and like you like always you have this like extreme like right wing, and you're telling me the opposite now. That's why I'm asking.
No, I mean, it is statistical fact that 30% of the people here voted for the AfD. But if I had to walk through them, the people that I know, and choose them based on, my experiences with them, I wouldn't believe this is possible. But maybe this is the difference between, how you believe your politics are represented and how you engage personally with other human beings. I certainly feel like the people here are definitely open to a human connection. But then when it comes to, the same is true in the United Kingdom. If you look at any place where there are big cities, you get people traditionally voting for the more left side of politics. But the further away you get into the countryside, the people are statistically more voting for the right-wing party. Maybe it's just a division between the countryside and city. I can't confess that I am a particularly enthusiastic political person. And ultimately, as long as as long as no physical harm or pain is being caused to anybody physical, emotional, or whatever, then I believe everybody has the right to their own political opinion.
Okay. I'll move to a bit maybe philosophical question. Um, as much as I understood from your website, from your work, your activities, you are aiming for a big change or some kind of change. So my question would be, how the change is possible through art and culture.
Art and culture is one of the greatest possibilities it is afforded to people to experiment with and give them the opportunity to modify and change their opinions through the experiences that they have with it. I mean, we have had a lot of, not, it's difficult to say. Some of the projects that we've had here have been relatively, I don't want to say poorly understood, but the people here in the city could not perhaps see the worth in these projects. And during the discussion that came along with these projects, it sparked a lot of discussion, not only between me and them, but between within the community itself. And there came the opportunity for people to exchange opinions about something as what they saw as unimportant perhaps as art and culture, but it still gave them the opportunity to discuss and through this learn and grow and experience new things. I mean, I kind of believe that as a human being, when you stop learning, you kind of stop, really, that's it. And so, when you consider that many people here are either old or retired and have not so much to do with their time, I think it's important that they are afforded the opportunity for intellectual input, which is something which doesn't really exist in this little town. Outside of, I mean, there are some other really cool projects here. There is a really nice 2-person theater, which is somewhere in the woods behind the Schloss, and a few things like this. But we are definitely up there as the people producing and displaying the most divisive artwork. And I believe this is an excellent thing for a community because it promotes discussion, and through that discussion, people come together or argue with each other, which is just another way of having a human experience, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting and important, I guess. So I will go one step back maybe, and again, going to your website. By the way, you have a super nice website. I really like it. And you somehow, now you're talking, and also on your website and each activities you talking about, you focusing on community, and you're trying to build a community around yourself through your activities. And even I think I saw you have some co-working space, and this is also not that common in the countryside somehow. And I was wondering how important is to build your own community, and if you tell me a little bit about that, about the community, and what does it mean, and how do you deal with it?
Yeah, this really began with we acquired a small amount of funding for a small culture program, and this started as the idea that we would create a run of organization of events rather, and basically use our hall once again and open it up to the public, because it stood for 30 years, and we finally got through with the building work so that people could actually start using it again. and a chap that I became very friendly with when I first moved here, who has a very small museum a little bit further down the hill to where we are. It's very funny, in Augustusburg, there's only two directions, uphill and downhill. And he and I came upon the idea that we would like to do a silent film cinema. And yeah, right. And because this guy is also a fantastic pianist and organ player, we then thought, well, then we will set live music to all the movies, right? Like you used to get in the 1920s and the 1930s. So this is how it began, and it basically began with me and this one guy looking at a spreadsheet, going, well, we don't, like, neither of us really know what to do, to be honest. And then we went on a course to teach us how to create a proper legal cinema, and acquired a solidly decent projector and a fairly good sound system, and started having cinema events. Unfortunately, we couldn't get a piano in time, so we ended up playing Blu-rays with the original tone track from the movies. Our first film was Nosferatu, which was celebrated 125 years this year. And yeah, we stood there and we were like, well, we don't know. Maybe one person will come, maybe 10 people will come. We have absolutely no idea. And it started off, and the first event came 12 people. And I viewed it as a great success, and my colleague was not so enthusiastic about it. And then through this event, we acquired a couple of people that were like, "Hey, it's cool what you're doing here. We would like to support you in some way." And we basically went from having cinema with popcorn to now we have every week, every Friday, either a concert or a cinema event. We have 4 people that work on the bar. We have 2 cooks and a bunch of other people that just run around and deal with chaos. And now now we're offering a complete evening program. You know, they come, they get something to drink. In the interval, we offer some food. Then people stay and discuss the event afterwards. And through this, I mean, we as a Verein, we really, also part of the makerspace philosophy is, come along and help out. Come along and bring ideas, and we will try and incorporate them. And so we have acquired people that are now producing posters for individual events outside of our normal advertising run. Yeah, it's been interesting.
Yeah, that's like so cool how you describe building a community, or I don't know if it was a big city, I would call it a bubble actually. But is it the same?
I mean, it's a small town, lots of people know each other. A lot of people that are involved in our community do know each other from outside of our bubble. But they've also bought, people have come and then they've decided they enjoy it, and then they've brought their friends, and their friends have also had a good time. They've brought their friends, and now we're getting to the point where we're getting new people involved who don't know anybody within the bubble at all, who simply have desire to help and to be part of what is going on here. And this has itself been an interesting experience, because it's really easy, when everybody kind of knows everybody, then everybody kind of gets along. And then there are coming new people, and sometimes this is not so normal to the people within this bubble. We're one of our recent acquisitions to our community is coming from as far away as Chemnitz, which is 30 kilometers or so, and is completely unknown by most of the people here. And they have, so this has been an interesting experience, not only for me but also for them, I think.
Okay, I will move to another topic, but is also a little bit related. How do you define socioculture?
So in my experience, from how I would relate it to what we have done here is that we have taken a lot of people that are not only willing but enthusiastic about giving up their free time in order to spend time together and create cultural events. Like I feel like some of them, maybe they are not really so aware of the fact that this is what they are doing, perhaps. But this is how, I mean, when you directly ask me this question, this is how I would answer it. It is people working together, either to experience or to create experiences for other people.
That's nice, actually. Easy, simple, and nice. This podcast is supported by Fonds Soziokultur. The music is composed by Benjamin Berry. See you in the next episode.